I thought that Dan Campbell getting snubbed. I was predicting Dan Campbell, but then I think everybody knew once Kevin O'Connell showed up there and Dan Campbell was doing his social media rounds, not taking photos on date night as opposed to being in New Orleans. Well, I think everybody realized Kevin O'Connell was the winner. And I think it was a snub. I truly think it was a snub. And I think it's even more disrespectful to Sam Darnold because everyone's like, man, Kevin O'Connell was able to win with Sam Darnold. That must mean something special. But I do think that the ability for Dan Campbell in the regular season to win 15 games, despite all those injuries, really spoke to the organization, the game plans, the ability to make do, the next minute up mentality. I thought Dan Campbell should have been coach of the year. I thought it was a major snub. Kevin O'Connell, and here's the thing: the two coaches faced off against each other, and the Lions were 2-0 against the
Yeah.
Vikings. So in the biggest game, I thought that the final game, the finale, should have been Coach of the Year Bowl. And the Lions dismantled the Vikings. They played well. They were great. Our best players were better than their best players, and the Lions outcoached the Vikings, and they won the division. And I thought that the voters, you start to look at some of the AP. I love the transparency of the AP to put out who voted where. I just thought that a lot of people giving credit to Kevin O'Connell didn't understand deeply what was truly going on in Detroit, and they way overvalued and disrespected Sam Darnold and said, "Wow, if he got wins, then Kevin O'Connell must be a master." I thought that was a snub.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on that 100%. Like the Sam Darnold thing obviously was like the deal breaker, and the Vikings did surprise a lot of people. And they did hit on a couple of their free agent acquisitions that they made with Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. Like there were moves that they made that made them better this year, and Kevin O'Connell certainly deserves credit. But I think you just got to go back to the fact that the Lions essentially had an entire starting lineup's worth of players on injured reserve on defense for 3 quarters of the season, essentially. And they were able to finish the year 15-2. And I know that the offense was really good. Ben Johnson was NFL Assistant Coach of the Year, and that's all fine and dandy. But the shuffling they had to do, like I remember Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, when they were just pulling guys off of practice squads, like Quan Alexander, Miles Adams, Jonah Williams. They were just trying to plug the leaks. And I think that they put a lot of effort in. And I know that's not all just Dan Campbell, but I think within the scope of the award, I think that was enough, given the fact that they dealt with all that and finished with the best record in the NFC. And who knows? I maybe there's other things that I'm missing, but I think just on a pure resume basis, the fact that he was 2-0 against the Vikings as well should be factored in. And yeah, I thought he was snubbed.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the weirdness of it is that then Ben Johnson's the assistant coach of the year. So basically, you give all the credit to Ben Johnson. Well, Dan
Yeah.
Campbell's got to put the recipe all together. And I think that people underestimate what Dan Campbell brings to the offense as well. He's in the mix, he's in those meetings. So I
Yeah.
think it should have been reversed. I think Dan Campbell should have been coach of the year. And maybe you also give credit to Aaron Glenn as well as the assistant coach of the year for having
Hmm.
all that. I mean, Ben Johnson had all the talent that stayed healthy. So there's a little bit of intrigue there in regards to the respect factor. I thought the Jared Goff situation was fine. I thought that you could make the argument that Lamar over Jared Allen because Lamar Jackson was named the All Pro. I get it. I understand that. It would have been nice to see Jared Goff win the Payton Man of the Year award,
Yeah.
being that he was there. But it was good to see Barry Sanders there having to check his way into the microphone. Hey, please let Barry kind of get to the microphone, please, presenters. But that was great. He's like, excuse me, I need to have my speech here. I thought that the show itself was kind of, dragged along a little bit, but in the end, it's a 2-hour award show, and the Detroit Lions were well represented. Seeing Hayden there,
Mhm.
Jared Goff, and things like that. And I thought the Lions were well represented on Radio Row too this past week.